Okay guys, so let's look at this secret feature. It's actually new and it's come out with the update, and it may seem quite small, but actually I think it's a pretty big deal. If we look at it, it says here it has added the ability to control orientation of the aircraft while flying forward during RTH. So basically what this means is if we hit the return to home button, we can swivel the drone around and also move the gimbal up and down. So how is this useful? This basically means that you can have your drone flying in a straight line in any direction, and you can effortlessly just rotate it around and move the gimbal. So basically this allows you to concentrate on some smaller details of maneuvers without having to worry about changing the direction. So if we want to move and turn at the same time whilst going in the same direction, this is going to take a lot of skill, and what this feature does effectively is take the skill out of that, which is something that I'm not going to complain about. So what I've done for a start is I've put down this massive orange launch pad. This is something that's really easy and cheap to buy. I'm not saying you should get one, but if you do want to get one, I'm not going to stop you. There is a link in the description down below. But for me in this exercise, I found it particularly useful because it's really easy to find which way the drone's going to be facing when it returns to home. So what I do is I literally take off from the launch pad and fly away from myself. Now for this I want to be flying slightly along the road, and I want to tilt the camera up to get the mosque in the background as it comes back. Okay, so for this shot I've got the return to home height set to 28 meters. The lower you can set it, the better, but where I've got trees around I don't want to risk hitting any trees, and I know that even if I bring it down out of altitude it will actually raise to that point for return to home. So we've got to bear in mind this is actually a safety feature, not a hack feature in the way we're using it. Okay, so I have the return to home height set to 28 meters and I have it in normal mode. And you can't actually change the speed it returns to home by putting it in a cinematic, sports or normal mode. So this is something really good to think about. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit the return to home, and we have full control over the drone in terms of altitude, which way it turns, and also the gimbal rotation. So this is really big. Basically it's like having two pilots but only needing to do it with one. So for this I can keep it focused on the van as it's coming back. So it's a really useful thing to do. Now there are many ways we can use this. You can also use it as a kind of an active track. I've used it here flying over myself on the bike. It means that I can cycle my bike with the remote and rotate the gimbal upwards, getting the shot I would like. So that's a pretty cool thing. Just bearing in mind for this shot I've changed the return to home to 15 meters because I know there's absolutely nothing else around that this drone's gonna hit. Something else to bear in mind when you're doing this, you have to be really aware of your surroundings. You don't want to be too focused on your phone and what you're videoing. You need to be really aware of if there's any people around, and also obviously if there's any aircraft around. If you want more details on how you can use the return to home as an active track, this feature is actually on the Mini, so I've done a separate video on that, and it pretty much still applies the same way as it does to this. Okay guys, so these shots are just things I took at my local park without having to go anywhere particularly special. I think there's a big scope for how this can be used, and it's going to be really exciting to see how other people use this. And it's also worth pointing out that when I filmed this I did use ND filters, something I highly recommend getting. There's a link in the description down below. Okay guys, so if you have any questions please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you found this video useful, hitting that like button is a huge help to me as a creator, and hitting that subscribe button would be amazing. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers now, so that's going to be really huge. That's it for this video guys. I hope you've had a lot of value out of it, and I hope to see you in the next one.